The teacher accused of sexually abusing a former student made his appearance in court. We'll tell you the charges he's facing and how he pleads.
Plus, the Trump administration's attempt to cut back on federal spending now causing layoffs. Hear how it's impacting local agencies.
And this morning, rain is becoming more widespread. We can expect that through most of our day on our Wednesday. Also, higher elevation snow. We'll talk more about your morning commute in just a second.
Live, local, late breaking. This is NewsWatch 12 this morning.
Good morning. The time is 6 a.m. as we start off our show with a live look out at Mount Shasta. This view brought to you by the Mount Shasta Resort. Welcome to NewsWatch 12 this morning. I'm Damon Alvarado.
And I'm Brinkley Hill. What a beautiful view this morning. Let's check in with Storm Tracker 12 meteorologist Sarah Kress to see what we can expect as we hit the roads for our morning commute.
Yeah, as you hit the roads out this morning, it is going to be a very wet start. We're seeing rain become more widespread. But heading out to the bus stop in the Rogue Valley, definitely need those rain boots, maybe a rain jacket, and a controversial take, maybe that umbrella. Temperatures into the 40s, and by the time you are coming home, you could possibly see some breaks into the clouds, some sunshine peeking through, but showers will be lingering into the evening. But out at radar this morning, like I mentioned, rain is becoming more widespread. Elevations this morning are starting off a bit higher with those snow levels, but they will be moving down throughout the day. By the end of the night, we'll be closer to about 4,000 feet. So likely with those snow impacts will be above elevations of about 5,000 feet, but we could still see some accumulation a little bit lower, likely about a trace to inch as we go lower into the elevation. But today's forecast for your high temperatures, we will be into the 50s for Medford, Grand Pass 49, over east of the Cascades, a high 41 for Klamath Falls. So we might likely see a mix of precipitation throughout our day. In terms of how much rain we're talking about, it is going to be a bit more as we're heading over to the coast. I'd say about 1.5 inches to maybe about 2 inches locally in some areas, a little bit less as we're heading over into our west side valleys. You can expect possibly about 3/4 inch to 1/2 inch in some areas, but we also are tracking snow, so we'll take a closer look at your snow forecast coming up in our next forecast.
This morning, children who are not up to date on their vaccines as of today are at risk of being sent home.
The third Wednesday in February is known as School Exclusion Day. Under Oregon law, all children in public and private schools, that's preschools, Head Start, and daycares, must submit up-to-date immunization documents. If that's not done, schools and child care centers will send kids home.
State data shows 14% of kindergartners did not get all school-required vaccines last year. Oregon also has the 4th highest percentage nationwide of kindergartners with exemptions of vaccines. Health officials say they're worried some illnesses like measles and whooping cough may be on the rise.
We are seeing recurrence of illnesses that weren't necessarily eradicated, but the incidence had decreased quite a bit.
Health officials say once illnesses pop up in classrooms, they can rapidly spread among families and communities. If you're worried about money, Oregon has the Vaccines for Children program. It offers free or low-cost vaccines for those who need it. For more information about resources near you, visit your county's website.
There's concern for Oregon's education system after it ranked close to the bottom in math and reading in national testing. Many students still struggling to recover from the pandemic. Parents and educators now asking how to improve testing scores. Even with more staffing and resources, the pandemic's negative impacts on student learning continues. There's now a debate about local and federal education collaborations.
It's an exceptionally troubling. There's no excuse. There's no excuse that ought to be made for these scores being this low. I mean, this is all about having the skills you need for a high-skill, high-wage job down the road. But we've got to get these scores up, and I think a better partnership between the states and the federal Department of Education could make a difference.
Senator Wyden is calling for a stronger partnership between state and federal education systems, highlighting that more innovative, career-focused approaches could help students see the value in improving their scores. He believes that education needs to evolve and better prepare students for high-skill and high-wage jobs.
This morning, we're continuing our coverage of a Selman's court case. The former Rogue River teacher has pled not guilty for 30 charges of sexually abusing a former student. NewsWatch 12 looked into these court documents, and here's what we found. Jesse Orndorff is accused of sexually abusing a former student when he was a teacher at Rogue River Junior-Senior High School. Documents state 10 counts of sexual abuse where the defendant, who's 21 or older, unlawfully and knowingly harmed the subject, KM, who's incapable of consent to sexual contact. Orndorff also faces 10 counts of rape. The document says the victim at the time of the abuse was under the age of 16. There are 10 other counts of sodomy. The 30-year-old former mathematic and track coach has his bail set at $500,000. Orndorff is expected to be in court again on February 25th, but that could possibly change. We'll continue to track this case, but more details can be found on our website, kdrv.com.
I don't put any of this blame on any of the local people from the Forest Service here. You know, all the way to the highest management locally, they have nothing to do with this.
The United States Forest Service has laid off 2,000 probationary workers as a result of the Trump administration's attempt to cut back on federal spending. I was able to talk to a former U.S. Forest Service employee who was laid off last week and is sharing his concerns. Former employees are speaking out, calling their recent layoffs illegal firings. Sean Anderson was a forestry technician who received a letter and a phone call last Thursday, letting him know he is no longer employed. Sean Anderson had been with the U.S. Forest Service for 3 years as a seasonal hydraulic technician, and he managed everything from hydrology work to wildfire crews. In March 2024, the agency's website shows that they offer permanent seasonal positions, which to Anderson seemed like a step forward. But with Trump's latest push to cut federal spending, it left Anderson and others who were now listed as probationary workers with uncertain futures.
It feels pretty bleak. You know, I mean, I just lost my job, and the people that are left are not happy. The morale was low already because it's been kind of difficult. There's good people there. They will try to do what their job is.
DC-based law firm James & Hoffman is considering representing those impacted by the mass layoffs. And we reached out to the U.S. Forest Service, with the agency responding saying these workers were in temporary positions funded by temporary IRA funding, and none of the affected individuals were operational firefighters. USDA spokesperson said Secretary Rollins fully supports the president's directive to improve government and eliminate inefficiencies. Now, I did reach out to the law firm to see how this can play out in court.
Pacific Power customers in the Mount Shasta area will have more reliable electricity by the end of this year. That's according to Pacific Power. The company announced improvements to local infrastructure in Mount Shasta. This project is almost finished and will reduce wildfire risk and build a stronger system. The company letting customers know of any service interruptions. So far, Pacific Power has already installed covered conductor lines across 46 miles of the area, but has 10 more miles left to go.
When these lines are installed, there is a much lower risk of a spark coming from the lines when there's interference. And there's also less of a likelihood that there will be an outage for small events like an animal interference or a small branch or a balloon touching the lines.
TRS tells us that Talent does not have covered conductors installed, as installation projects take several years to design, permit, and build. That said, the company already has plans to install those lines and Talent in the future. It's not the only Southern Oregon community, though, Pacific Power plans to make improvements in. Other areas include Medford, Ashland, Grants Pass, Klamath Falls, and more.
Klamath County residents will have the option to vote this May on a new proposed public safety service district. The district would serve eastern Klamath County to meet public safety needs like emergency response, crime prevention, and community safety initiatives. The district would be funded by an $89 tax lot in the new boundaries. A yes vote creates the district and imposes this tax. A no vote rejects the creation. We have some very exciting and special news for you this morning. We're excited to announce that this morning team will be participating in this year's Dancing with the Rogue Valley Stars.
Woo! Yeah, we're also excited. NewsWatch 12 has been a partner with the Sparrow Clubs for 25 years, and we'd love to work with them.
Absolutely.
We have 2 months to practice, and next week we'll start our show with fundraising, so stay tuned. We'll have some QR codes to show out to everyone, but Very exciting.
It is exciting. Now, last year, the Stars were able to raise a record amount of over $170,000 for Sparrow Clubs. That's the most that they've ever raised, and this is the most successful Sparrow Clubs fundraiser across the West Coast. We really are honored to be a part of this program and the amazing work that Sparrow Clubs does for children and their families in our community. We do have more information about the club and this fundraiser
Can
on
we
our
let
website.
people know our team name? Our
Yes.
hip-hop team name?
Good idea, good
Yes.
idea.
I know about the theme, but we'll give them the team name.
Yes, we are the Dreamhouse Hustlers.
Now take a guess what you think our theme is going to be.
We'll see.
Have to
But
let us know.
we got some other fun for you guys to check out this morning. NewsWatch 12's Wake Up and Win is back, and you have the chance to enter and win a family 4-pack of tickets to the NewsWatch 12 Sportsman and Outdoor Recreation Show. All you have to do is watch NewsWatch 12 this morning between 6:45 and 7 a.m. to spot the daily code word and enter it on our website. One winner will be selected each day through Friday.
Now, we also are tracking rain this morning, but on top of that, some pretty gusty winds. We have a high wind warning in place until 7 a.m. along the coast and into our valleys. We do have a wind advisory. We could see those gusts up to about 45 miles per hour. As we're heading throughout the day, we will see gusty winds move over east of the Cascades and into those higher elevations along the passes as well. We are expecting higher elevation snow, so we'll talk about where you can see those travel impacts coming up in our next forecast.